Are you interested in building a career in the development and humanitarian sector? Then, Strategia Netherlands is the best option for you. We offer training solutions to the United Nations, governments, NGOs, and other development organizations worldwide. Make your online application now for Diploma in Monitoring and Evaluation, Diploma in Grants Management, Diploma in Conflict Management, Diploma in Disaster Management, Diploma in Water Sanitation and Hygiene, and many more. The cost for diploma courses is 800 euros, while postgraduate courses cost 1,200 euros. Visit www.strategianetherlands.nl for more information.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good How are you guys?
Cameroon.
Welcome
Good
to our
morning.
webinar. We want to
Good
thank you for
morning.
having the time to be here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping time. We're just right on time. Yeah, we will be giving like 5 minutes for people to join. Meanwhile, we'll be introducing ourselves for those that are here already. Yeah, welcome so much for this webinar. So I'll just be asking anybody to raise their hand so that we can give them a chance to introduce themselves. Early birds like Mohammed, I saw you here quite early. Possibly we can start with you. Or whose hand is up? Somebody's hand is up.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon here in Kabul.
Yes, Nasir.
This is Dr.
Nasir Umar.
Muhammad Naeem Rahimi.
Please tell us
AHD.
your names. We would be interested to know where you're coming from, where you're streaming in live from. Yeah, your interests in WASH.
Okay, good morning. I'm Nasir Omar.
Nasir, please take the floor.
Okay, good morning. I'm Nasir. Joining from Nigeria. I have been into the wash sector for like, can you hear me? Am I audible? I'm into the wash sector for almost 5 years. We do the integrated water sanitation and hygiene project with USAID. I'm the monitoring and evaluation learning officer for the activity, so I take more interest in wash services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nasir, and welcome. Somebody's hand is up. Simon Mariwa, if you can hear me. Simon's hand is down. Dr. Mohammed Naeem, kindly, can take the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Muhammad Naeem Rahimi from Kabul, Afghanistan. And I am working as a program coordinator for Afghan Health and Development Services. The organization is implementing the health projects for the southwest region of Afghanistan. And I have to thanks for your invitation and a very good online WASH session.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. And we can now take Simon Mariwa.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Tsitma from Mongolia, from UNFPA office. Nice to meet you. Thank you for sending an invitation.
Thank you so much for being here. We can take somebody else.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Mohammed Yusuf Mawar from Pakistan. Well, I've been associated with the WASH sector since from 12 years. And recently I'm also working with a project which is on the WASH, which is the USS funded project. I'm looking within the Sindh. We are working with the government of Sindh.
Okay, in view of the numbers we have, as attendees. Kindly just say your name and the country you're streaming in live from so that we just save on time. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Princely Gemo from Cameroon. I work with the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services. And I'm concerned with WASH because the community where I work has a lot to do with water and sanitation. So I'm interested to attend this seminar to help my community have good drinking water to serve the population.
Awesome. Thank you, Princely.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's raise our
Hello,
hands
good
to avoid the confusion. So
Okay.
I'll take the next hand. Kindly. Sarah Odi.
Could I just go?
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm speaking from Cross River State, Calabar.
Okay.
Yeah, Nigeria. Speaking from Nigeria.
Pleasure, Sarah.
I'm a WASH practitioner. I'm a private WASH practitioner for now because I just retired from government service. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for being here. Justin Adrico.
Yeah, good morning. My name is
Morning.
Justice Adrico Simako from Uganda, and I work for LM International. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sarah, Juliet Namukasa.
Good morning, I'm Juliet Namukasa. I work with LM International in Uganda.
Thank you. Welcome, Juliet. Sadam Kangwa.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the invitation. This is Sadam Kangwa from Tanzania. I'm working with Legal Services Facility. I'm happy to join the session because we're also partnering with organizations that are working around WASH. So I think I'll be learning a lot to improve my program.
Okay, thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Hello.
Mohammed Ismail. Yes. Yes.
Hello. Good afternoon. Mohammed Ismail Labasi, ex-monitoring assistant WFE World Food Program. Currently, I am working on WASH project, Women, Children and Welfare Association. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Daniel Kawuma.
Could I please go next? I'm in another meeting, but I'll put it on mute so that I can listen in. Good morning. My name is Thelma Nkowani. I'm streaming live from Zambia. I would like to be part of this program because I actually work with a water development company, non-revenue water. So I would like to learn more and hear more from other countries how they're actually going about this project. Thank you.
Nice. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Kauma from Uganda. I have been working with WASH for the last 12 years, and right now I work with Dhaka Water Solutions Consult. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else we haven't introduced and your hand is up? I'm saying that because some hands have been up and you've mentioned your names and you introduced yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Regina Banda from Malawi. I work with Theatre for a Change in the Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning department. So I'm just interested in WASH because we are also working with the other organizations that are implementing WASH program. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
You're welcome, Regina. Thelma Kowami.
Okay. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Ore Kubwa for Justice, Vision Fashion Foundation, Ghana. I'm interested in this because my district of operation, which is Chatham Plains, is beveled with WASH challenges. So I think it's the best platform for me to learn and share ideas. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I'm seeing a new person. Tehil Nyambe.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Nyambe Matthew Tehil. I am the Assistant Hygiene and Education Officer for the Benue State Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, Benue State, Nigeria, West Africa. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you haven't introduced yourself, just take the floor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Adeze from Abuja, Nigeria. I'm a doctoral student with a university here, working presently on diarrhea as it affects on the fives in rural areas. I work with the public health department in the Federal Capital Territory, and I feel that engaging in this program will help me in a long way in understanding how other communities around our African nation and around the world handle issues that have to do with WASH. Thank you.
Okay, welcome so much to all the people that have joined this webinar. We want to
Hello. Good morning, everybody. My name.
In view of time, we are 10 minutes into the session. I think we are quite a number. I've seen so many of us have typed our introductions on the chat, which is a good thing. I think now we'll go to the next part of the session, which is just an introduction from our facilitator on what it is we are waiting for and what you're looking at today. We are so glad to have Mr. Moses Lengewa with us. Mr. Moses, kindly take the floor. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Moses Lengewa. WASH expert. You are facilitator for this webinar. I'm also a faculty member for Capacity Africa Group. So I see a variety of participants here. I know from your introduction, I've seen the way you have, you look like you have a diverse of experience regionally and also maybe depending on where you work. So today, maybe just allow me to share my screen so that we can see the discussion we have for today. Just a brief, we can say a brief or just a service introduction of what WASH is and a few things about definitions, concepts around WASH. Because I know with the interest you have in this topic, when you want to improve your way of doing things in WASH, we have a variety of other modules. You can go deeper. Of course, in the concept we have with the institute here. So allow me to share my screen just right now. And let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see the screen.
Yeah, we got you.
Yes.
All right, great. So let me share in a presentation mode. So I begin from the beginning, and this is just this is a webinar that went out. It's an advert, and so these are the discussions topic for today. Well, firstly, we just because we want to introduce what WASH means. We will not assume because it's a webinar. There may be other their colleagues who are maybe want to know what WASH is. Others who want to improve more on WASH. Others who want to build their careers around WASH, others who want to improve the way they implement projects. So you can simply just try to introduce in terms of some basic definitions and concepts around WASH. And then shortly we can talk about how water, sanitation, and hygiene are interconnected, and a little of community engagement strategies now when you are rolling out a WASH. And then of course, in other situations, we normally have what we call the WASH priorities in emergencies or humanitarian, and also in development settings. So, and we want to see how water and public health relates, and also some effectiveness of WASH interventions when they are carried out very well. So let me simply just begin by introducing what WASH means. Firstly, WASH stands for water, sanitation, and hygiene. and WASH definitions provide a basis for understanding the key terms and concepts within the WASH sector. So if you want to, I know most of you are in the WASH sector, and for those who want to join the WASH sector in your country, wherever you are, because these are the basis. It's good always when you know the definitions around WASH, the basic concept first from the beginning. So the following common WASH definitions are aimed at simply to emphasize the importance of access to clean, safe water, good, or what we call proper sanitation and hygiene practices, and all these are geared towards protecting public health and well-being. And as we go with these discussions, you'll be able to see how this contributes a lot, how WASH contributes a lot to protection or promotion of the health of the public and well-being. So, firstly, water. Apart from the definition, other definitions of water, maybe using this chemical, physical properties or whatever, in the concept of WASH, we talk about safe water and water that is free from contaminants and pathogens, and making it safe for consumption and for other domestic uses. So when you talk about water in WASH, we simply mean safe water. That's what we want to achieve: safe water, clean, safe water. Okay, water that has no contaminants, water that does not spread diseases, especially the waterborne, water-related, water-washed kind of diseases. Okay, and of course the water that's fit for other domestic uses. We know washing, cooking. So water that's fit for that. So in terms of sanitation, you can still define sanitation in terms of the provision of facilities and services for the safe disposal of human feces and of course urine. So sanitation simply refers majorly to that. And the word sanitation was coined from maintenance of hygienic conditions through services such as garbage collection and of course wastewater disposal. Okay, so and then around sanitation, again, we still have sanitation facilities. This is now the infrastructure and technologies are used for the safe disposal of human excreta, such as latrines, of toilets, and of course the sewage systems in public. And again, other terms related to sanitation include open defecation. I'll be able to show you that later on. In terms of sanitation ladders, what open defecation means is simply the practice of defecating in the open rather than using toilets or latrines. A practice that is not good for public health and of course environmental sustainability. And we have hygiene, the H aspect of WASH. So this refers to conditions and practices. So hygiene simply refers to conditions and practices that help to maintain the health and prevent the spread of diseases. So hygiene is more behavioral and more individualized. And when we approach hygiene, normally we use what we call we try to do behavior change approaches to individuals because we know it's more of personal issues at most extent. So then hygiene promotion is another term around hygiene, and this revolves around educational and awareness activities, which are aimed at promoting the behaviors I mentioned that contribute to personal and public health. Okay, so including hand washing with soap, proper sanitation practices, menstrual hygiene management, of course, including safe food handling. And still around hand washing, we can have hand hygiene or hand washing with soap. This is the act of cleaning hands with soap and water to prevent the spread of pathogens and to reduce the risk of waterborne diseases. So we know hands are vectors to most of the diseases are related to poor sanitation and hygiene. And what we do is actually to ensure that there is proper hand hygiene, majorly simply to eliminate contaminants from your hands, and of course to break the transmission into the human body. So simply that's what we talk about. So other definitions around WASH include WASH in schools. Most of you have heard of WASH programs that are target schools. And these are comprehensive initiatives that address water, sanitation and hygiene in educational institutions to create a healthy and conducive learning environment. What we target is actually to have a safe learning environment so that we improve health outcomes and of course educational outcomes of the learners. So, and WASH in schools is also another area that has a lot of focus in terms of trying to provide clean, safe water, appropriate sanitation facilities that are segregated for boys, girls, teachers, and of course ensuring that there is proper messaging through the WASH clubs that are instituted in schools. So that's what about WASH in schools, what we call WINS. And we know it is a varied. There are so many other approaches depending on where you come from, but I know there are standards for WASH in schools that are actually outlined even around the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so and then we have WASH in emergencies. In this case, in various parts of the world, even currently now, we have a lot of emergencies, and majorly what's affected is WASH. WASH is highly affected, and it's normally crucial that there are WASH approaches or interventions that are targeted towards that. And these are rapid and targeted interventions to provide access to clean water, sanitation facilities, and hygiene promotion in crisis situations such as natural disasters or conflicts. We could talk more about that when it comes to concepts. Then we have community engagement. Someone is. I'm trying to see who is that. So that. Okay.
They were tuned in. Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, thank you so much. So then you have community engagement. Community engagement is also another aspect of WASH, because if you want to roll out WASH interventions, then you have to engage communities from the beginning. So we have, we can just mention of some participatory methodologies. Is FAST, which is an approach that involves communities in the planning and implementation of hygiene and sanitation programs to ensure cultural relevance and sustainability. And we know that from FAST, we also got other approaches like CLTS and many more others that actually are used to promote sanitation and hygiene, behavior change among community members. And then there are other aspects on gender and social inclusion. That's gender mainstreaming. We have sustainability, again in this regard. So sustainable waste services to ensure that water supply, sanitation, and hygiene interventions are maintained and continue to meet the needs of communities over the long run. And then we have integrated approaches. WASH interventions work very well when they're integrated, and this simply means coordinated planning and implementation of water, sanitation, and hygiene activities to address the interconnectedness nature of these elements and also to maximize their impacts. So a few concepts, we talked about the definitions. So, and we know WASH encompasses a key set of concepts and practices which are aimed at promoting health and well-being. Okay, so these are crucial for addressing public health challenges, preventing the spread of diseases, ensuring access to clean water and sanitation. And we know WASH was very key in actually even trying to contain the spread of COVID-19. And of course, at that time, we know so many ailments have gone down, especially the ones that are related to poor sanitation and hygiene, or that are spread through poor WASH conditions. So this tells us that WASH is a game changer in most of these diseases or disease outbreaks. So the term WASH services, so the WASH services include supply and distribution. So the services that are related to WASH include supply and distribution of clean water, promotion and implementation of environmental sanitation, and of course, promotion of safe and hygienic practices to communities. So think of the WASH services like what you provide to ensure that there is observance of good WASH practices, okay? So, and then what are some of these services, if you can mention a few? So services are systems, they're simply systems that supply a public need. So for example, transport, talk of communications, waste management, or utilities such as electricity and water. So those are just generally as services. So those are the services you can think of, and they are actually supplied to the public, mostly by the mandate holders, by the government. So think of WASH services as such. So in this case, in the concept, in the context of WASH, we mean now that these are systems that provide water, environmental, sanitation, and hygiene needs of communities. For instance, we have water supply utilities, we have solid waste management systems, and liquid waste collection and disposal systems. All these are WASH services, for example, in urban areas. These are the systems, again, intended to protect the environment, for instance, the urban environment, as well as ensure that water, sanitation, and personal hygiene needs of urban communities are met. So look at that example of as a WASH service, okay? And then we have water supply. Water supply, simply, we can introduce this by just saying it's an access to safe water. Because when you supply water, you make sure it's safe water. So in the context of WASH, we say it's access to safe water, which ensuring that communities have access to a reliable and safe water supply for drinking, cooking, and personal hygiene. And around that, again, around water supply, you must have water quality. And water quality revolves around water quality control, that ensuring that the communities have clean water, that safe water, and this is done by monitoring and maintaining the quality of water to prevent waterborne diseases. And of course, it includes testing for contaminants, ensuring proper water treatment, okay? And this can be done maybe quarterly or depending on the need, or maybe there's a need to do so, that you suspect that the water is contaminated, so you can do water quality testing. And in terms of sanitation, in sanitation, we normally talk of improved sanitation facilities. This is where we want to be. And of course, providing access to proper sanitation facilities such as toilets and latrines, and to prevent open defecation and the spread of waterborne diseases as a result of maybe contamination from fecal matter deposited in the open. And of course, we have safe disposal of human waste. In terms of sanitation, again, we talk of safe disposal of human waste. That's ensuring that a safe and proper disposal of human waste to prevent contamination of water sources and the environment. So imagine a case where human waste is not deposited properly, or stored properly. This can be carried away by rain, and it can find its way into the water sources where people fetch water. More concepts include, again, hygiene. And in hygiene, we have personal hygiene. This promoting practices such as hand washing with soap, food handling, and other behaviors that contribute to individual and community health, which include, again, menstrual hygiene management. And then around, again, hygiene, we talk of behavior change, which is more collective. So we have encouraging communities to adopt and maintain hygienic practices through education and awareness campaigns. So note that personal hygiene and behavior change communication are two different things. When you talk of personal, it's more personal. There are messages that actually can only be or we can say utilized, or the messages that can be uptaken by members of public at the individual level. There are others at more collective levels, and that's around behavior change. That's why we have campaigns that run maybe in televisions, radio, so that to actually to ensure the members of the public adhere to some specific behaviors. Again, we have WASH in schools. I mentioned about that. And the concept around this is this implementing WASH in schools to provide a healthy and conducive environment for learning. This includes access to clean water, sanitation facilities, and of course, hygiene education. And of course, you now get around this concept is children are key change agents, and these messages can be able to they can be able to be ambassadors back home, so that their parents can be able to adhere to this desired sanitation and hygiene practices and behaviors. We mentioned about, by definition, we mentioned about WASH in emergencies, and the concept here, we have what we call rapid response. And implementing WASH interventions in emergency situations, this includes such as disasters, conflicts, to ensure affected populations have access to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. So remember this, that even during COVID-19, we saw an emergency situation, a lot of WASH interventions have been carried out actually to limit the spread of the disease. And then we have what we call integrated WASH approach. This simply means holistic planning. We recognize that water, sanitation, and hygiene are interdependent, and majorly we want to do this in a more holistic approach, so that it can become more effective and sustainable outcomes. Because you know you don't have water, then you observance of hygiene is limited, and the same applies to sanitation. Okay, so around this again, we all have what we call community engagement. When you're implementing WASH interventions, whatever we want to do is there are people you are trying to target, there are communities that you want to relieve of that problem. So for you to carry out such intervention, it means that you have to participate them actively. So, and that's from the beginning, that's from the planning, implementation, and maintenance of such WASH interventions, even if it is infrastructure, then they need to be engaged from the onset to ensure that whatever you're providing them is culturally appropriate and also sustainable in the long run. And then we have what we call gender and social inclusion in the context of WASH. So we want to talk about equitable access, because we know WASH is also human rights, and it should be enjoyed by all. So we have WASH programs consider the specific needs and vulnerabilities of different groups, including women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities, to ensure that no one, especially the ones which are easily left behind, are included in these programs. And here we're talking about WASH programs. And majorly, again, that leads to sustainability in the long run. So these are some of the concepts we normally talk in the WASH sector, so that you can be able to have effective WASH services. So moving ahead, we know one thing, that for us to carry out this WASH as one of the goals in Sustainable Development Goals, that's clean water and sanitation. So, and we know effective implementation of WASH concept is crucial for achieving these goals. And we know, again, there's a lot of interrelatedness, or the linkages between the goal number 6, that's clean water and sanitation, and with almost all the other goals. Actually, the other 16 goals are interlinked with SDG number 6. So if SDG number 6 is not achieved well, we may not achieve these other goals properly. and we know it's well, we are talking of the year 2030. By the year 2030, which will have wash for all, especially paying close attention to people with other vulnerabilities or the ones who are easily left behind. Okay, so I want to take you through some JMP, Joint Monitoring Plan definitions for water and sanitation, and the SDG number 6 I was talking about. So for us to attain, we say that we are attaining SDG number 6 targets. We must be at safely managed either water, service provision, sanitation, service provision, or even hygiene services. So we have to stay as safely managed. So look at the ladder here. We have service level, and of course we have a little a definition as outlined in SDG number 6, that's clean water and sanitation. So service water, this is drinking water directly from a river, dam, lake, pond, stream, canal, or even irrigation canal. So this means this water is not safe for human consumption, and at that level, then we are far from even our targets. If we still have communities or members of the public taking service water directly from these sources, then it means it's still a big problem in relation to public health. And then we have an improved service level. This drinking water from unprotected dug or well, or also unprotected spring. Still, so it means now this water is still not fit for human consumption, but now it's not like the others, rivers, dams, lake, just a service water. So this is simply water that is not well protected, and it could be contaminated. And then the other levels, the other service levels, that's limited, basic, and safely managed. This is simply trying to look into the time taken to get that water that's going to and fro, going to the water source and coming back to the dwelling. And limited supply of service level means you are drinking water from an improved source, for which collection time exceeds 30 minutes per round trip, including queuing. So that means you are accessing an improved water source. That water could be safe for human consumption, but now the time taken to get that water exceeds more than 30 minutes. That means a lot of time is wasted looking for this commodity. Okay, so for basic one, which is a bit above limited, is drinking water from an improved source, but at least the collection time is not more than 30 minutes for a round trip. So that's a bit better. But now where we want to be is we aspire to be at safely managed, where that's drinking water from an improved source that is located on premises, available when needed, and free from fecal and priority chemical contamination. So this is the water you can access it when you need it and when you want it, and it's actually safe water. So these are how we categorize under the SDG 6 by the Joint Monitoring Plan of WHO and UNICEF. This is what we talk when we talk about water service levels. So you already know what kind of levels you are dealing with, wherever you are. And then we have definitions for sanitation, that's definition for sanitation service under SDG number 6. So I mentioned about open defecation. So this level is where human feces are found in the forest, in the bushes, in the fields, near water bodies, beaches, or other open spaces, or even including with other solid waste. So this level of service provision is the lowest, and we know majority of the people still are at this service level, but no one is safe until everybody has a latrine or toilet and uses it appropriately and that all other services that provide sanitation that relates to human waste, including feces, are actually in a safest place where that cannot find its way into water sources or other, or in the open, coming back into human contact. So an improved service level is the use of pit latrines. At least now here we have you have a latrine, you have a pit latrine, but now you may be having a slab, or may not have a slab or a platform. Could be a hanging latrine, could be a bucket latrine. So this kind of facilities, yeah, at least you have a structure, but now it may not be that good to safeguard human health. So it needs to be improved. So, and moving from that level, now you go to limited, which means now use of the improved facilities shared between 2 or more households. Now, you have a good facility, but now you may be sharing with others. So that means the target is to have everyone using their own latrines or toilets. So you move from that, you go to basic. Basic is where you use of improved facilities that are not shared with other households. Okay, so it's better, but now attaining a safely managed means we use improved facilities that are not shared with other households and where excreta are safely disposed of in situ or transported and treated offsite. Okay, so this is the most advanced kind of sanitation service level provision. Moving ahead, we have someone is talking. We have this is JMP definitions for hygiene services under SDG number 6. So here we have 3 service levels. Simply, you have no hand washing facility, and then number 2, the other level above that is you have a hand washing facility on premises, but now it means it has no water and soap. So it simply means you may not be practicing good hygiene, but you have the infrastructure. You may be having the latrine, you have hand washing facilities, but no water and soap. And then basic is where we want to be, availability of hand washing facility on premises with soap and water. Meaning now you are practicing that because you are using that, maybe after using the latrine, after doing whatever you want to do, after visiting the farm, you can wash your hands. After maybe you're cleaning your animals, you can do that. Cleaning the baby diapers before eating. Okay, so then means you be practicing that because already you have installed that hand washing facility in your premises and the soap and water. Okay, and then we're just trying to showcase where a case where we are talking about SDG 6, that's the clean water and sanitation, having being the foundation or key foundation for other UN Sustainable Development Goals, including good health and gender equality. So it's linkages to 17 other SDGs, you know them. But closely, explicitly, you have WASH, clean water and sanitation, linked to SDG number 1, which target to have no poverty. SDG number 3, that talks about good health and well-being. SDG number 4, very crucial because of quality education. SDG number 11, sustainable cities and communities, very key in that. And of course, number 12, responsible consumption and production. WASH is very key in that. WASH is very key in life below water. And of course, life on land. And other interlinkages will be number 2, zero hunger, another SDG, zero hunger, gender equality, very key because, you know, without clean water and sanitation, we know there's a gender, the women gender, the female gender the people who are normally affected more, especially women and girls, because they look for water in relation to their gender, their roles. Okay. Then we have decent work and economic growth. In terms of where you work, where there is no water, there's no sanitation facilities, you know that's also impaired. Okay. And we have industry, innovation, and infrastructure. It's the number 9. Okay. Okay, affordable and clean energy affect that. Reduced inequalities, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Again, it has relationship, of course, with climate action, partnerships for the goals. So you see already that WASH in itself is related to all the other 17 UN development goals. It will affect in one way or another. Okay, so that's why WASH is very key in development. And here again, we go ahead and say, why do you think WASH matters? Why do we look at WASH? Why does it matter to us so much? Why do you want to join the forces and be an ambassador, be a champion, or be a person who wants to implement, or be a person who wants to, or an organization that wants to donate in this cause? Why does it matter? Why do you seek for more experience, more skills in WASH as an individual? Why does it matter to you, to us, and to everyone else? So some key facts talked about. Access to WASH is a human right. We know it's a human right. And still, billions of people experience daily challenges accessing even the most basic of services we talked about. You know, the service levels we are talking about, most populations, you can see here, don't even access that. Yet it's a human right. Okay, around 1.8 billion people globally, for instance, use a source of drinking water that's fecally contaminated. Okay, it could be using surface water in a place that's contaminated with feces in an open defecation zones where people don't have latrines, in places on zones where sewers are not functional, environments where solid waste is not well managed, liquid waste is not well managed. So you can imagine that. So around 1.8 billion people globally use that kind of water. And yet we know it's a human right, okay? So some 2.4 billion people lack access to basic sanitation services such as toilets or latrines. And you know they are already interrelated. So if you still lack basic sanitation services, including at the individual level, household level, or at the municipal level, you can see how that could lead back to contamination of water sources that 1.8 billion people now are using. So you can see the interrelatedness of the issues. And if you solve all this, then we are solving all of it. More than 80% of wastewater resulting from human activities is discharged into rivers or seas without any treatment, leading to pollution. 80%. You can imagine that. So with no treatment, discharged into seas, rivers, and this water is again will come back and get being used by the members of the public in one way or another, or you can pollute rivers, destroying aquatic life and such. So it really matters. That's what tells you WASH matters to us very much. Moving ahead, now going into the disease burden, we know WASH-related diseases remain among the major causes of death in children under 5 years. So, and it's factual that more than 800 children die every day from diarrheal diseases linked to poor sanitation and hygiene. So every day, globally, 800 children die. That means in 1 hour, if you do the calculation, around 35 children every hour are dying because of this. So it's such a significant challenge and problem that we need to solve. And then by managing our water sustainably, we are also able to better manage our production of food and energy and contribute to decent work and economic growth. Remember what I was talking about, the interlinkedness of the SDGs we talked about, the other SDGs. So by doing so, we will be able to contribute to decent work and economic growth. And economic growth cuts across what we talked about in terms of even the SDGs, if you looked critically into them. So additionally, we can preserve our water ecosystems, biodiversity, and take action on climate change. So look at that, how that affects to almost every sector. So in 2020, according to JMP, remember the JMP Joint Monitoring Plan of WHO and System, UNICEF I was talking about here, these ones. So it's estimated that around more than 5% of the population still practice open defecation in 55 countries. Okay. So 55% people practicing open defecation means that nobody is safe, because as long as there's someone defecating in the open, as long as there's fecal matter in the open, it means you are contaminating the environment. So even those who have, the 95% of those who have are still will be affected by the 5%. Okay, so 90% of the people practicing open defecation, they live in Central and Southern Asia. That's around 233 million in Central and Southern Asia, and of course Sub-Saharan Africa, around 1.7 billion people. So you can see the magnitude of the problem. Again, other facts, again, still in 2020, JMP, we talk about household wastewater generated global water discharged without safe treatment, 45%. Okay, 45% of the household water generated globally was discharged without treatment. Okay, and then you have at least another 10% of the world's population is thought to consume food irrigated by wastewater. So poor sanitation reduces human well-being, social and economic development due to impacts such as anxiety, risk of sexual assault. I'll be able to show you in a few other studies, and lost opportunities for education and work. Then we have poor sanitation is linked to transmission of diarrheal diseases such as diarrhea, such as cholera, dysentery, as well as typhoid, intestinal worms, infections, and polio. So poor sanitation exacerbates stunting and contributes to the spread of antimicrobial resistance. Again, I'll be able to show you a few facts about that later, but this tells you why we need to work on sanitation very well if we are to spur development across board. More facts, and of course, about this, access to safe water can protect and save lives just because it's there. Just because there's water, safe water, it protects and saves lives. So we normally say water is life, and still water is CASA is an enabler of development. Okay, and of course, social and economic issues are solved by actually having this commodity. And then access to safe water has the power to turn time spent into time saved. So you can imagine what we are talking about in some other communities. People travel the whole day looking for water, especially women and girls, whole day looking for water. So if you have that, then that time could be used for something else. Access to safe water can turn problems into potentials like unlocking education, economic prosperity, and improved health. Every human being deserves to define their own future, and water makes that possible. Now, this is about interconnectedness of water, sanitation, and hygiene. It's without doubt that water, sanitation, and hygiene are highly interconnected. Without one, the other one is impaired, and vice versa. and of course, a domino effect of the problems that will cause to even other aspects of life of a human being. So look at water and sanitation. We talk about safe water supply, and of course, sanitation facilities. We talked about this. So this is just a diagram or just an infographic of how this is well interconnected. They are all interconnected in one or another, and highly interdependent. So water and hygiene goes as hand washing, and then access to clean water. You can't talk of hygiene if there's no clean water, if there are no hand washing facilities, okay? You can't talk about that. You'll be talking about it, but the practice will be very low or none at all. You can't talk about water and sanitation. Or sanitation without water, or water without sanitation, because water without sanitation means the environment is contaminated, and of course water is part and parcel of that environment, so it will be contaminated. And again, going down, disease prevention, you can't prevent diseases if there's no sanitation and hygiene. You can't, of course, it's all about proper waste management, environmental contamination, okay? Health and education, school wash programs, improve learning outcomes. You can't say there's good educational outcomes in institutions or educational institutions where there's no water, because generally the comfort, the safety of the learners is not guaranteed. Even the dignity is not guaranteed, okay? Gender and social inclusion, you can't say that you are gender inclusive unless you talk about water and sanitation availability, because we know women are more affected by this. Most of their roles are towards water, looking for water. And if there's no water, they are not provided water and sanitation facilities, then you know what happens. They spend most of their time looking for water, get stressed, they not go to school. They may not have time for childcare, okay? And all that. In emergency situations, without water and sanitation, clean water, sanitation, and hygiene interventions, you can't say you are managing an emergency. You can't say you are actually doing a response that's responsive to what you are doing. And of course, the behavior change aspect. Behaviors can change, yes, but without the practice, without the real, without water, without sanitation facilities, without the hygiene awareness, that will not happen. Okay, so that's how this is interconnected in one way or another. So that's why we talk about WASH. That's why it's WASH. So having said that, having just done a bit of introduction, and hope you are following me well, because these are just outlines of what I'm talking about. WASH will be talking to the details of when you come into the actual modules that are offered here. So this is about community engagement, because for you to intervene, you have to, of course, you have to engage communities at different levels. There are crucial steps that you need to carry out if you want to intervene in WASH interventions. And you can talk of this in terms of both the humanitarian, emergency, and of course the normal or normal development settings. Okay. So first of all, if you look at this diagram, there is analysis. The blue part is analysis, and then there is the orange program, and of course the gray area is the external engagement. So analysis is about the context, about the people, and their behavior and practice. So you can't introduce a WASH program or intervention without actually trying to analyze firstly the context. Then you look at the type and location of the emergency. If it's an emergency response actors, you have to look at the AP data for public health risks, status of wash infrastructure, food livelihoods, and protection analysis. So this more so, if you look at that in an humanitarian aspect, if you are looking at it in a more development setting, a normalcy setting, a development setting, then again you have to see what kind of where do you want to intervene and how and why, because of course you have carried out maybe some needs assessments to that to learn about the context or about the cultures of these people. Okay, so then move to the people as demography, leadership structures. You have to know about that. You have to know about the gender and power dynamics, the history. You have to know about education, and you see even when you're doing assessments or baseline surveys, all this revolve around even our questionnaires normally carry about around this. So you get to do that the actual need of the people that you're intervening. So and then their behavior, you have to know about that when you're carrying an analysis. So well, the first three, that's the context, the people, their behavior is simply just doing an analysis of that. And now you come to the program and you see the community engagement is at the center of all this, because that's what you are doing. Whatever you're doing is actually you're trying to engage the community from the beginning, because these are the beneficiaries of your interventions. These are the people who will be your key stakeholders. They make you succeed or not, depending on your engagement approach. Okay, so we have the orange part is about the program, that's information and communication. So it must be practical, appropriate for context. So because you have already known this, you have already done your analysis very well, so you have to communicate that and it must be practical, appropriate to the context, and delivered through diverse channels and access to services and reducing, of course, the risk. Of course, your goal could be reducing a burden of disease that could be there, maybe diarrhea. Okay, then that means you have to communicate that very clearly on what you intend to do and how to do so. Then participation, we can't talk of community engagement without community participation. That's very key in program 1. So work in partnership to increase community ownership, decision making, and control over processes, facilities, and of course services. If you do well, good community participation from the beginning, this is where you have the community on this, and then it become more sustainable, and then of course it become more impactful at the end of the day. And along the way, then you have to monitor evaluation and give feedback. We talk about the feedback loops, analyze monitoring data, share with communities, and agree adaptations to program where possible. So this for you actually to know if you are on the right track as what you wanted to achieve, and if there are changes along the way you want to make. And then there's also capacity building of staff, partners, and of course community members to get the right skills to implement the program. Then of course accountability for all. Everyone is held accountable for this initiative. So we hold ourselves accountable for using power responsibility, do not cause harm, welcome, and there's complaints. Okay, so this is part and parcel of our program implementation. And then you have advocacy, this is external engagement. Now this outside your program area or your program in terms of maybe a thematic area or geography. So you have to advocate for more. You have to advocate for similar types for WASH and other community priorities to carry out. Maybe even the ones you are not implementing, the thematic areas you're not in, you could be able to add more resources through advocacy, buy-in by maybe governments, other stakeholders. Of course, it's coordination and collaboration with national, international, and local actors to influence decision making, so that you get what you want in a more coordinated way, so that to achieve one objective as a whole. And this is actually to improve WASH outcomes, if that's the objectives, and reduce the disease burden, maybe in terms of diarrheal diseases, and reduce child mortality and morbidity and mortality in that regard. So that's how that will look like, but in just a nutshell of how you can engage your community. Okay. Just with a few facts, I can rush through this. We have the things you notice just by research, just going through some literature of people, of colleagues who try to do a lot to understand community engagement. So some of the things you do is if you ignore local and indigenous knowledge, this may hinder community engagement as it forms a key part of the local culture and community collective. So the reason why you go here and look at the context, you look at the people and their behavior so that you know how you participate them, bringing in, not bringing in, but actually aligning to their local culture and their way of doing things so that you can have community buy-in. So in fact, local water users, in terms of water, local water users often possess detailed indigenous knowledge related to water resources, water needs and historical changes that have occurred related to water use. So these are the people who have been there for all that time. They have a lot of history behind where they are. And if you are providing water access, then it means they are more knowledgeable in terms of water resources available there, water needs, given the changes that have maybe happened over time. So considering the structure and hierarchy within a given community, this again gives you an avenue to look at the leadership of that community. So it's essential to be aware of the different levels of leadership. The community you are going to implement or going to target in terms of your interventions, you must know about the hierarchy of how they govern themselves. So both from the grassroots and the stakeholders' perspective for the project to be sustainable. That's by Hobden and others in 2020. And many issues of sanitation access are related to cultural values, religious practices, and traditions. We know that very well. E.g., menstrual hygiene remains immersed in cultural norms of shame in many parts of the world, as per Skoji and others, Kefeni and Yellow in 2018. Moving ahead, just producing some literature on community engagements and what can go wrong and what can go right. If you don't participate them well, or if you don't carry your research very well to understand their way of doing things. So for instance, older men avoid being seen going to the latrines. It's common culture because their culture considers older men going to a latrine as shameful. So you see that. So how do you engage that? These are some of the things you need to learn as a practitioner, as an implementer. How do you go about that? And you can only unravel this actually through community participation and having them make their own decisions on what they want to do. There are other approaches we can talk about when we want to have this, if we want to promote sanitation in such context. So sanitation projects involving communities with strong religious practices need to appreciate this, okay, in the design of any intervention. For example, there's a project in Tanzania where urinals were modified to adhere to Muslim culture practices, okay? Yeah, so this is by a person and others in 2016. So again, if you go to research, look at a situation where for sanitation research to be successful, you must look at the community norms and perceptions around sanitation and gender, age, and the body in general. This should be considered when developing community-based interventions. Right? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So what is our question? Yeah. Sorry, a bit of some interruption. I'm back. So in terms of existing leadership, I'm still trying to peruse some literature here. In terms of existing leadership structures, established religious groups and leaders have a great influence on communities and form key social structures for community engagement. We know some of these leaders have a lot of power, they have a lot of influence at the community level. So these are the people we need to use when we want to roll out our interventions. They have a lot of information, okay? And they are trusted by community members. So this is how you learn about what you learn about when you're doing your analysis, when you're beginning your WASH intervention. So for example, a study by Mandang and others in 2021 found that involving religious institutions such as madrasas in their sanitation programs was most effective in getting to buy-in from the community. Okay, so having gained the leader support was important, as communities who receive assurance from the religious are very likely to accept and adopt new WASH interventions. Okay, let's look at community engagement. Now, looking at gender and what you call the gender roles, and especially in WASH, and if I'm not wrong, in many other health related interventions or public health related interventions, look at women and water development initiatives. Some little literature talks about women and water, okay? And this is widely enhanced by their gender roles. And we know that women and girls bear the brunt of limited access to water. We know that very well, especially in rural areas in sub-Saharan Africa, Central and in Eastern Asia and Central Africa, and of course, even Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm talking about Sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, so women are expected to be more knowledgeable of water resources, quality, availability, and accessibility. This by Kamara and 2017, and Parik and others in 2020. Why do we look at this? Because if women are more knowledgeable on these aspects of water, then it means because they are the ones who are affected more when there's no, when such sources are degraded or such facilities, sanitation facilities are not there, okay? Then it means they will be more likely to sustain or protect. But normally the gender roles of women in the community do not allow them to actively participate in community development initiatives. We talked about water as a development issue and actually linked to 16 other sustainable development goals. We know the goal number 6 about clean water and sanitation. But remember, in as much as women are expected to be more knowledgeable of all this about water sources, quality, availability, accessibility, their roles in the community limit them from participating as such. So these are the things we need to look at very keenly, make sure that the participation of women is well taken care of, because these are actually the custodians of all water, sanitation, and hygiene-related issues, especially at the household level. Women are more vulnerable to water stress due in part to degradable water sources. Remember that? And women spend most of their lifetime on water-related roles, especially related to collection of water for drinking, cooking, washing, and other roles or tasks related to water. And women related roles expose them to women related roles expose them to risks when they are looking for this precious commodity, or if they are looking for places where they find privacy in terms of sanitation and hygiene, maybe changing of change rooms. If there are no change rooms for maybe menstrual hygiene management, then what happens? They'll tend to look them elsewhere, try to struggle to go far places to hide and whatever. And if there's no water, it means they'll travel long distances looking for this water. So this exposes them to a lot of other risks which are associated with personal health and of course safety. This includes heavy loads, falling into wells, sexual harassment, encounters with wild animals, okay? And of course, the time taken from education and family. That means childcare for women who have young babies under 5 years of age, or even younger, will not even have that much of that time to care for children. So most of their time is actually wasted in looking for water, and maybe water that's not even that safe. So it's widely known that women and girls are entirely responsible for collecting water and associated tasks such as cooking and cleaning the house, the compound, and of course, general cleaning. This daily routine just exacerbates gender inequality, especially given that time for other activities such as schooling, leisure, business is often spent traveling long distance to fetch water. This by Kema et al. 2012, Bisong et al. And 2015, and Silvestri et al. 2018. So it's well studied that this really happens a lot. Okay, so it straight goes to about impairing the SDG for gender equality that targets to have equal access for all. So having the maybe try to divine this, or just trying to give a perspective in terms of literature. Then we have some strategies we normally use if we want this to succeed. And again, based on the context we talked about, based on the people, and of course, based on the behaviors of such people. And then we try to find some approaches to promote good wash practices. See, that's what we want. See, simply wash good wash practices, and of course the availability of these services. Two things: availability of wash services, and of course we promote promotion of good wash practices and behaviors. That's all what we are talking about. Then we can begin a few strategies that I've just outlined here. They are actually diverse depending on context. So, but key is participatory approaches. I'll not mention many of them here, but I can just mention about what we call FAST, participatory hygiene and sanitation transformation. This was mentioned earlier. I think I mentioned about this when we were talking about participatory community participation. Like FAST, this involves community members to actively in the planning, implementation, and evaluation of projects related to water, sanitation, and hygiene. Okay, because we are talking about wash, and we know FAST is actually trying to work with the community. You are designing an intervention with the community, like you are actually for designing with them, and then you all along the life cycle of that intervention, communities are participated. There are other approaches that came later on, so many others, including community-led total sanitation, still part of participatory approaches we talk about. These are some of the approaches that you'll be able to learn in details, because in different modules you have this happen during the courses we offer, and we'll be able to go into details of these approaches one by one. There's several of them, and one maybe could take a whole week of discussions, theories, and practicals. Okay, so just a mention, and we have community meetings and workshops. These are just other approaches, and are part of participatory. We have local leadership involvement. You have to involve the locals. It's more so what I was talking about in the literature, but here I'm trying to just to outline it in a more clear manner, just by listing how some of the approaches we normally use to effectively engage communities. Okay, then we have you engage local leaders. You can go door-to-door outreaches. You can have personalized communication. You can work or collaborate with the community-based organizations in that locality as an implementer, as an individual. who wants to spur change in terms of watch. You have to consider what you call cultural sensitivity. You have to look at you have to respect local culture, and you can also use the digital platforms to convey your messages. For instance, in this era where we have a lot of social media, okay, you can use apps, digital apps, where people will have a lot of everybody has a mobile phone now. Okay, these are just ways to engage communities, pass your messages. We have online and social media engagement, what I was talking about, community surveys and needs assessments, part and parcel of community engagement. Okay, we have capacity building, building skills, of course, of community members. Let them know what you are doing. Let the people who implement this understand this clearly. Let the participant, the stakeholders understand what this happens. Skill development is part of capacity building. We have other ways of doing this, like storytelling and media. Storytelling is very effective. It's just other approaches to engage communities. Narratives and testimonials. And of course, two-way communication. Feedback mechanism where you allow the other person to participate equally as as you who is implementing it, who knows what you are doing, because they also provide a lot of feedback as community members. Inclusive decision making at all levels. Remember what I was talking about when I was presenting the diagram there about community engagement, continuous feedback along the way, transparency, what you are doing at all levels, from planning, implementation, and of course, even evaluating these programs, empowerment programs. You empower people, you give them knowledge, skills, then of course you celebrate achievements. Whenever there's an achievement, it's what's celebrated. And this falls as part and parcel of what we call community engagement. Just to mention a few, okay? So, having said that, I don't know how many minutes I have more than 40 or so minutes. If you need a break, I don't know, Ruth, could we allow a break maybe for 5 minutes? Some health break, 5 minutes. And then you can come back and continue. Ruth, I don't know if you are getting me.
Yeah, yes, we are.
Oh, good. So I was saying maybe you can have a small health break of 5 minutes.
Yes, Moses, we can take a health break.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take a health break. Of how long?
I said around 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Then we're back at 12:22. We can be taking questions while on the health break for those that are not taking a break, because I'm seeing some streaming in.
Okay.
Yeah. Feel free to type in your question or just voice it as we wait for the break to elapse.
Are we on break?
Dr. Naim, you said something.
Are we on break?
Yes, we are on a health break.
Okay, like how many minutes?
Resuming in the next 4 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's well.
You can leave your question in the chat box.
Yes, of course. If you have a question, I'll be wait.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
So we can continue.
yes, we should, Moses.
Okay, okay. So
I
most
think
welcome
yes.
again.
Please.
So we want to talk about WASH priorities in emergency and humanitarian or humanitarian and development settings. And we normally say, we said earlier that WASH is a very key issue when it comes to emergencies. And firstly, what breaks down is actually all the WASH infrastructure, like people get displaced, for instance. Yeah, so, and you can get even the WASH infrastructure damaged completely, maybe because of landslide, maybe because of flooding in some parts of Kenya now. So you can imagine what happens in such situations, maybe in war zones where people move out of the places they normally enjoy these rights or these services. Then they get to be settled in a place where now there's non-existent. We are talking of populations, large number of people settling in one place. So you can picture that that situation and see the way things in a crisis, everything is broken down, including even the social structures. So look at that in that context. But in development settings, this is simply just a place where maybe people are just settled normally. They have issues with WASH and you just want to improve them and you want to sustain. So look at that again in that aspect. So this differ again in based on the context, what is needed, maybe immediate needs, and of course, another long-term goals. So the following are some of the immediate priorities for water, sanitation, and hygiene for emergency response. So in this case, we are talking about emergency response. So these are, firstly, we must have what we call innovative sanitation options for difficult settings. Innovative sanitation options. What can you offer in a situation where people have no latrines, there's none, and they need it immediately? What will you do in that situation? Okay. What will you deploy? What kind of messages will you deploy? Of course, again, you know you have to be very, very strategic in that, but rapid response is required. So firstly, identify and develop a new emergency or new emergency kits that are appropriate to difficult settings. Maybe you have high water tables, you have urban settings, that's an urban area, and stable soils, for instance, what will you provide? So, and then again, improve the promotional messaging for rapid uptake and consistent use of sanitation options. Maybe you have to deploy maybe mobile toilets, for instance, kind of technologies in terms of sanitation. What kind of water technologies will you use, innovative ones, to address the situation, water tracking, safety of that water, what kind of treatments will you be using to ensure that, okay? And a lot that happens around that. So addressing critical unknowns about how to effectively deliver sanitation in diverse emergency settings. Again, it's really critical because these are evolving things and you are trying to address this situation to avoid the outbreak of diseases, because if diseases are spread in such areas, maybe where people have settled, people have been settled at a camp, a refugee camp, okay? Then you know what happens there. You have to limit that, to limit the spread of that infection immediately. So, and then we have technologies for water provision, for instance, for dispersed communities. What kind of technology will you provide? Need to modify or develop technologies for rapid distribution in diverse emergency situations to ensure faster, more predictable, and longer lasting access to safe drinking water. Approaches to promote consistent, correct, and sustainable use of water quality interventions. Okay, because when you are dealing with an emergency situation, then it means the water quality has to be monitored very keenly to ensure that you are providing safe water for these populations, so that you will not exacerbate the the situation. And then we have a point of use water treatment, for instance, and safe storage has been shown to be a promising option for rapid access to safe water in relief settings. Point of use water treatment. It's one of the best, or it has been proven to work better in such settings. Effective hygiene, hardware and software. Look at hand washing stations. What kind of stations? We have Habitats, some kind of portable hand washing stations. I look at sufficient water and availability of soap can contribute to more effective hygiene. Just to ensure hygiene in this situation, rapidly deployable hand washing stations in settings are very important still. And then more effective hygiene promotion strategies to, of course, to encourage hand washing with soap and other healthy behaviors may also benefit from those affected by the emergencies. Okay, so those are some of the key priorities, just in a nutshell, in a more summarized way. But there's a whole module or a section when you talk about WASH in emergencies, what you are going to do in different settings, even how you are going to roll out a WASH emergency intervention, for instance. Okay, so just to mention a few, there's immediate access to safe water. I mentioned about rapid deployment of water supply system to ensure affected populations have access to safe and clean water. Sanitation facilities, provision of emergency sanitation facilities, of course, toilets and latrines, to prevent the spread of diseases in crowded or such temporary settlements. Hygiene promotion, I mentioned about that. You ensure that these key practices are carried out. You have hand washing with soap to reduce the risk of waterborne diseases. Disease surveillance, you have to carry out disease surveillance very keenly to ensure that so that you can quickly contain waterborne disease outbreaks in case they occur. Waste management is also very key in this regard, and this is about safe disposal of waste to prevent environmental contamination and the spread of diseases in emergency settings. So WASH-related diseases are the commonest in a place where there is an emergency, in a place where people are crowded, where people have been settled, okay, in such camps. So shelter and WASH integration, this is a bit holistic approach, integration of WASH components into shelter and settlement planning to ensure that the overall well-being of affected populations are taken care of. Community participation, again, this is very key from the beginning. Must be community participation because still the same communities that are affected. Only that these are now in a more emergency situation, and they need a quick or immediate response. Then we have gender and vulnerable populations. Again, what happens here is there are people who are affected more normally. We talk about women, children, elderly individuals, and of course, other vulnerable people are affected more in emergency contexts. So we're talking about in development settings. So we talked about what happens in emergency. Now in development settings is simply we are talking about universal access to safe water. And we mentioned about that earlier. So this is just ensuring universal access to safe and reliable water sources for drinking, sanitation, and other domestic uses. For those who don't have, you have to provide these services. Sanitation infrastructure, that's building and upgrading sanitation infrastructure, including sewage systems to eliminate open defecation and improve or protect public health. So we will talk about also hygiene education and promotion, WASH development settings. We have sustainable management of water resources. Okay. Yeah, these are the things we talk about in details. Again, when we invite you to join such courses that are offered here, because we talk this in details about this, and we provide also about a wide range of experiences around all these aspects. WASH in schools and healthcare facilities. So integrating WASH components into schools and healthcare facilities to create a healthy environment and promote good hygiene practices. We know schools and healthcare facilities, these are public facilities, for instance, are used, and they must have the high standards of WASH to ensure that the users, of course, if it's learners, then they have to be safe in that environment where they are learning. For healthcare facilities, we know that there are health facilities acquired infections around the healthcare facilities, and most of them are also still widely WASH related, and these have to be taken care of very well. In also an approach around WASH in healthcare facilities, which is also another wide area. And then we have participatory methodologies. One of them is community-led total sanitation that can be discussed again in details. This is simply an approach where community members are facilitated to realize their sanitation and hygiene problems or needs through key facilitators who are well versed with this approach, well-trained facilitators, so that they carry out this to trigger communities to realize that they have been, let's say, consuming their own feces without knowing, simply by showing them that this is how it happens. And from then now, you create some shame and disgust that will spur them to act and ensure that no one is defecating in the open. So all these are really participatory. Communities are walked through these processes and they take charge of it to ensure that everyone is safe and no one is defecating in the open, and simply just to ensure that diseases that are related to poor sanitation and hygiene are kept at bay. Again, there's WASH and nutrition integration. We know that directly WASH affects nutrition because you know when children are diarrheaing, for instance, they are most of their time they experience bouts of diarrhea because of poor WASH. We know that key nutrients or minerals are lost in diarrhea, and again it could also affect vaccination or immunization initiatives because it impairs absorption of vaccines. So there's a lot that goes around that, okay? And there's a lot about the life cycle around what happens around WASH and nutrition integration. So integrating WASH interventions with nutrition programs to address the interconnectedness issues of water sanitation and malnutrition. Okay, because we know diarrhea directly causes malnutrition and even death. Okay, so a lot again has to be discussed about that, and still there's what we call resilience building. This building resilience to climate change and natural disasters through infrastructure development and community preparedness. So when you talk about this, we ensure that we have this through the lens of climate change, that some of the facilities we provide or some of the facilities we recommend communities to construct or infrastructure in terms of water, sanitation, and hygiene are responsive to climate change and maybe the natural disasters. They are resilient, so that even if it is a place that is more prone to flooding, what kind of latrines do you maybe construct in such areas? So the infrastructure that's a bit more resilient, so that people will not go back to where we were before. Okay, So that's what we look again when we talk about resilience building, so that we build stronger communities. And then we have governance and institutional capacity. So these are simply strengthening governance structures and institutional capacity at local and national levels for effective and sustainable WASH service delivery. Okay. So this simply to strengthen the whole systems, the interventions we have brought into the community. Then we have to ensure that governance is working at all such levels, simply to ensure sustainability and ownership and accountability. Okay. And then we have gender equality and social inclusion. This means to ensure that WASH programs are gender sensitive and social inclusive, addressing the specific needs of different groups within the community. And this will be given by the assessments you have carried out to know the kind of people who exist in these communities and to ensure that they also have a voice so that they can their needs are also addressed alongside all the WASH interventions we are trying to carry out. Okay, it's about the infrastructure that it should be inclusive to maybe girls, boys, people with disabilities, of course, different disabilities. Of course, people maybe who are marginalized. If it is in terms of regions, then you have to look at that to ensure all are included in programs so that no one is left behind. And then a mention of WASH innovative solutions. So innovative solutions in WASH sector are crucial for addressing the diverse challenges related to water access, sanitation, and hygiene practices. Here are some of them. And when we talk of WASH innovative solutions, innovations actually come as a result of maybe the challenges you have faced. So over time, you try to do an intervention, it will not work, or at some point you learn along the way, then you become innovative along the way. So there are solutions that come along that, and there are myriads of such kind of solutions across board, and depending on where you are, some are been scaled, cut to cover long geographic regions. Others have been localized countries, regions, and others. So we know this happens because of we're trying to solve problems that we encounter while implementing programs. So some of them are few. We can see what we call solar water purification. This is just a mention of some of the WASH innovative solutions. So these are such as solar water disinfection, what we call SODIS or solar stills. This use of solar energy to purify water in resource-constrained areas. You can just even use a water bottle, and that actually has a such. I've seen some providers of these solutions. Some of them, like I think the SAWA, sanitation and water, for all. And then there's sensor technologies, use of sensors and data analytics to monitor water quality. Just to mention a few.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
I'd
winding
lost
up
you.
actually.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just winding up. So we can have
Okay.
several technologies. We have container-based sanitation. Can have a look at that later. We have dry toilets. We have automated water dispensers. A lot of WASH reporting apps nowadays. Okay. We have community mobilization approaches. I mentioned about CLTS. There are many others, FAST, phase, CHAST. Also eco-friendly menstrual hygiene products. Yeah, a whole aspect around even menstrual hygiene management is still an innovative solution. Of course, and we have water and public health. And, we know that water or wash simply improves public health, okay? So a lot about waterborne diseases, disease prevention, sanitation and hygiene, I mentioned about that. Child health, along the way I mentioned about child mortality, morbidity, maternal health, about say pregnancy, vector-borne diseases, nutritional health, I think I also mentioned about that. Environmental health, ecosystem health, emergency situations, SDG 6, I mentioned about that, global health equity. All right. So maybe I invite you to look at this to your own free time, because I know my time is a bit constrained, but they're self-explanatory. They're just points how to just to understand the key aspects around this. And these are effectiveness of WASH interventions. We want to prove that WASH interventions are actually highly effective in promoting public health, reducing waterborne diseases, lower mortality rates, improved hygiene behaviors. It's an impact on nutrition, positive effects on education, sustainable WASH services, increased access, all that. Okay, so I think having said that, I say thank you so much for listening to me, and we look forward to engaging more further in different other capacities, and also maybe other engagements in WASH. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moses, for a very beautiful presentation. We get to learn a lot on this. I hope you'll stick around for the Q&A, but just before we do that, we will take a little brief from our colleague, Janet. Janet, if you can hear me, for a very few minutes, please take over, then we can take the questions, Q&A, assisted by Mr. Moses.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janet, and I'm the training manager for Strategia Netherlands. And I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, Moses, kindly stop sharing your screen so that I can share.
Okay. I don't look like I'm sharing the screen already. Sharing. No longer sharing the screen.
Okay.
But I can see yours.
All right.
And we can now see you, Janet.
Okay. So I'm going to be talking about our institution, Strategia Netherlands. And Strategia Netherlands is an international organization that that normally conducts. Strategia Netherlands is a management organization that provides training and consultancy to humanitarian and development organizations worldwide, and we have done training for participants around the world, for participants who work for the UN and also NGOs and also governments. And we pride ourselves in having trained over 10,000 professionals from around the world. And our mission is to offer quality and to give value for money. So we offer various courses. we offer various courses which include on various levels some of our courses include project management, monitoring and evaluation, and we offer them in 3 levels, namely certificates, diploma, and postgraduate diplomas. Certificates go for 3 months, and they are a total of 3 modules, and you get to do 3 assignments and 1 final exam, and they cost 500 euros. Diplomas go for 6 months, and the modules are 6, where you take 6 assignments and 1 final exam and 1 research paper, and the cost is 1,000 euros. And then when it comes to postgraduate diploma, it goes for 12 months, and you get to do 8 modules and 8 assignments and 1 final exam and 1 research paper. It goes for 1,500 euros. And we have good news. We are currently offering a discount of 20% for everyone who is participating in this webinar for today. So all you have to do is send us an email on info@strategianetherlands.nl, and you will mention that you attended this webinar, and we will give you a 20% discount on all our course programs. And so we have very many qualified. We have a team of qualified professionals who include qualified lecturers, training managers, and academic managers. And this team of people have various qualifications, including PhDs, doctorates, and master's degrees. And then we have, among the courses that we offer, they include project management, data analysis, strategic planning, water sanitation and hygiene, which is normally called WASH, monitoring and evaluation. And then we have operations and supply chain management, project planning and management. We also have procurement and supply chain management, among others. And we also offer short courses. Short courses usually go for around 4 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks. And then we also have a French department that offers these courses, these programs in French. Yeah, and then other courses that we offer include gender-based violence, water resource management, water security program management, humanitarian and development studies, gender poverty and development, among others. We have a variety of programs that we offer, both in English and in French, for the sake of the French-speaking participants who have joined our webinar today. And so if you have any questions, kindly send us an email on info@strategianetherlands.nl or workshops@strategianetherlands.nl. And for more information, visit our website, which is www.strategianetherlands.nl. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janet, for that presentation. We will take the questions. I can see we have 12 questions on the chat box. The first one is about presentations. The second one is about the same, and the third as well, fourth as well. So I want to, even the fifth. So those 5 first questions will be answered in one. And this is to say that if you have any queries, any info that is not clear, kindly write to us on the info@strategianetherlands.nl email that has been offered to you on the chat. Kindly check on the chat, and we'll be able to share everything. The presentation, we've also been live on Facebook, on YouTube. The link is equally there. Kindly just go ahead and check on that. Any other information you might need, anything that needs clarification, kindly reach us on that email. The other question is, what is personalized communication? I do believe this is technical. Mr. Moses Lengewa, possibly you can take that.
Okay. Thank you so much. So it's about, I'm trying to look for the question. So it's saying what's personalized communication?
Yeah, I do hope it's in regards to WASH.
Yeah. It's actually more personal hygiene. Personalized means
Okay.
yeah. So is actually a kind of communication that targets maybe individuals and normally relates to hygiene. Most of the messaging around hygiene are more personalized. And then there's also the collective aspect that's around again behavior change for entire community. So it means now you are maybe targeting individuals. When we talk about hygiene, we talk about practices that individuals do, like hand washing, menstrual hygiene management, for example, bathing. So those are more like we can talk of personalized, okay, or individual targeted. Okay, so that's just what that means. I don't know if I answered. I think the anonymous. Okay.
The anonymous attendee, are you answered? As they respond, possibly they'll write on the chat. We can take Mohammed's Kalon question. Since somebody, yeah, they answered. They're saying they answered. Okay, so Mr. Mohammed had asked, I want to thank the team for this wonderful presentation. Are there free online courses available for WASH and other related fields? Yes and no, we do not have free courses. What we have is a discount running for this month of November and the next month, December. So you can jump on that offer for now. You could write to us on the info email once again, and we'll be able to direct you appropriately. Mr. Ado Deng asks, what are the key WASH indicators of how you calculate and analyze them in an emergency project setting, e.g. an eco-funded project? Mr. Moses, kindly.
Okay, thank you so much, Ado Deng. I think I talked a lot about WASH and indicators. And you are talking about how we can calculate or analyze them in an emergency project. Yeah, maybe I can refer you to, because I know it's a bit much of details. I can refer you maybe to SPHERE standards about humanitarian context in terms of WASH. So we talked about are there products available for hand washing? Is there soap? Those are indicators. Is there water, for instance? More other indicators.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Moses. And like he says, we will be offering availing the presentation on the YouTube page to be running there, and also you'll be able to get it through the info email.
Okay.
Mr. Atwin Rachel, sorry, my apologies. Possibly this is Miss Rachel Atwin. Thankful for the presentation. Questions, kindly talk about WASH and climate, FIETS approach, and how the dimensions help in WASH. Lastly, the FUM approach, how it's used after CLTS. Once again.
So, I've seen FIETS. I've seen WASH and climate change, and then FIETS approach. Could we discuss this more? Because I know there's a big nexus between WASH and climate change, and the FIETS approach is, I know I may not have, when I was speaking, I may not have broken that into financial, institutional, environmental, technological, and social, as we talk about, which actually abbreviated as FIETS, but everything is aligned there. Everything like institutional capacity, I talked about that. I've talked about environmental considerations. I've talked about technological aspects in terms of innovations. And of course, the biggest aspect of the social aspect of that, the approach we use. So all those ones are addressed in even my presentation. We just need to categorize them under the five we talked about. And there's something around WASH, the FUM approach. FUM means it's actually a new approach to CLTS. It's called the Follow Up Mandona. It's an abbreviation. It's an approach that was coined from Madagascar, and it's actually brought to Kenya. It has been applied to improve CLTS, especially for communities that lag behind. And that approach is more so about eliminating what you call open defecation, so that you accelerate the achievement of open defecation-free status of communities. And what happens there is you go to a household that has no maybe has a latrine but has no hand washing station. Then you do you support the household too. As you do the follow-ups, the normal follow-ups, you support them to do what you call small doable action. What you're able to do, just support them to do that quickly, and then you move to the next one. So it actually accelerates the achievement of open defecation-free status in terms of when you talk about CLTS. Okay.
Okay. Somebody else was asking if you can break down, it's actually Rachel still, if you can break down the wash-related diseases.
Okay. So wash-related diseases, I think there are so many of them, and there are categories. We have water, water-based, we have water-related, as we talked about. We have water-washed. Okay. So there are others that are diseases that are related to maybe when there is no water. What kind of diseases are those? There are others that are found in water, what you call waterborne diseases, like schistosomiasis, for instance, waterborne disease. There are other diseases that are related to water, maybe because of maybe water is scarce. You can have maybe so people don't have water for doing proper hygiene. We have water washed. Okay, we have water scarce. So I don't know if you want me to break them in details. I can still be able to go to your chart and maybe outline that clearly, because these are different categories. Actually, there are 4 of them, 4 categories in that list.
Okay. So they'll be able to tell us if they wanted the breakdown.
The breakdown, yeah, sure.
Yeah, then we can be able to chat them online. The next question is about climate and wash, which I think you've tackled up there. I'm interested in CLTS. Do you have a training or trainers training on CLTS? It's an avenue we can consider. Possibly when it's out, you'll be able to see it through our socials. Mr. Ferdinand. Yeah. The other question, time is really far much spent. I'm trying to see any question we've not dealt with. How do you track behavior change for effective WASH program? I feel like there's a need for customized urban and rural settings program stroke project. Am I correct? That's Sadam Kangwa from Tanzania asking.
Correct. There's need maybe to split that in terms of yeah, there's always about urban and rural setting aspect of WASH. It's urban sanitation, is rural sanitation. And for tracking behavior change, yeah, these are approaches that you'll be able to see by setting of course, indicators that shows that people have understood what you are talking about. Maybe you'll be able to see responses, maybe by uptake of interventions, by maybe lowering of disease trends. Yeah, those are some of things, but it needs clear indicators based on what you are tackling around WASH in behavior change, communication.
Okay. Mr. Shaidi Ngona is asking, kindly elaborate more about WASH in nuts as well as WASH in school.
Okay, WASH in nuts. What Shaidi meant that Shaidi meant WASH in. I want to get that nuts. What's nut? Is it nutrition?
Shaidi, if you can get here and do just type the question once again. Meanwhile, we can take Ferdinand Kwena's question again. Would you mind shedding more light on the service level in the JMT ladder regarding water supply. The difference between self-managed and basic level doesn't seem clear to me. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we have seen that if you go back to the ladder, I think there's a ladder I've shown earlier about safely managed in terms of water supply. So basic level is, I want to go back to, I don't know if, but I will not share my presentation now. I want to go back to why I was talking about that so that I can talk that clearly. So in terms of water, so basic is simply drinking water from an improved source. The only difference there is the amount of time spent. So between basic and safely managed, for basic, it means the time to get that water is less than 30 minutes. For limited, it is more than 30 minutes, so you spend more time. But for basic, it's 30 minutes and below, you have your water. But for safely managed, which is the highest service level provision for water service under the SDG 6, it simply means you have water in your dwelling, safe water, whenever you need it and anytime you need it. And it's free from chemical contamination, fecal contaminants, so it's safe water. And still the same applies to basic. Basic, just the only difference is time taken to get that water. I don't know if I've answered Shahid well, but that's what it means.
Shahid clarified her question. They're asking, kindly elaborate more about WASH in nutrition. That's what she had abbreviated as NUT, as well as WASH in school. I hope that is what you meant, Shahid.
WASH in schools, I can begin with the WASH in nutrition, or nutrition and WASH.
Yeah.
There are indicators also in nutrition that are related to WASH, and there are indicators in WASH that are actually still in nutrition. Okay, so nutrition in that regard means maybe you could be, in terms of water, you see, you can break down into water, sanitation, and hygiene in terms of nutrition. So it's something that needs more elaborate information because if there is poor sanitation, then it means children will be malnutrited because there is bouts of diarrhea if there's contaminated water is not safe. Again, there's a lot of diarrhea, and diarrhea is impairs nutrition. Okay, and the same applies to hygiene. It impairs the nutrition in that regard. And again, children, or especially the under 5s, who are more prone to diarrhea at early stages of their lives, it simply means they are malnutrited. It also impairs absorption of vaccines. You know, children are given a lot of immunizations to improve their, of course, their growth. And of course, what happens is that this is what we call the environmental enteropathy. That affects the GI of the intestinal tract, and that happens to children who have been exposed to a lot of diarrhea at early age, and that means even the immunization, vaccines, for instance, get impaired. They may not get absorbed well. So in that cycle, you find that nutrition is also affected, especially for children. And for WASH in schools, what we call WINS, is simply WASH programs in schools or institutions, water, sanitation, and hygiene programs in schools. And what you intend to do there is simply to improve, to have the learners have a safe learning environment. And then that improves learning outcomes. Okay, that means you provide clean, safe water, you provide sanitation facilities that are running water, maybe the high standards, segregated for boys and girls, for teachers. Okay, so you find that, and of course there's WASH clubs or maybe health clubs that carry out WASH activities, WASH awareness, even the ones who come to school. for so that kids have enough WASH education, if I can say that. Yeah, so actually those are just the 3 components about WASH in schools. And there are standards to that, again, that are normally monitored. There are standards, there are indicators that are monitored to ensure that there is the highest level of WASH in school standards. Thank you so much. I think maybe I've answered your question now.
Thank you so much, Moses. I think we've really covered quite some ground. Maybe take one last question from Dolo.
Hi, Ruth. I still have one question that's not responded to yet.
Okay.
I can just read through the question because I had it in the chat.
Oh, you did? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So it was basically just to have an understanding. We had a situation where there is contamination at the borehole point where one makes hand contact with the borehole opening to collect water, and another contamination at the tank stand points where water is collected, and then at the taps where you actually open and close. So I was more interested in understanding how that can be corrected or treated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and sorry for the insight of your question. Mr. Moses, kindly.
Okay, she mentioned about borehole contamination acts. At first?
At the borehole point where you make contact with the borehole opening to collect water.
Okay.
And then at the tank stands where water is collected. And then at the taps where you open and close the tap. Yes.
Oh, it's interesting. So you're saying, so that's borehole is contaminated at just why it at the top. That's why you get the water.
Yes.
So I'm not, maybe that's just about development issue, how you are, maybe how the borehole was developed. I'm not sure of that clearly.
Okay.
And then at the tank, you're talking about the tank.
Yes, where water is collected from the tank. Yes.
How was it contaminated? Because once the water is pumped.
It's just the report that we received after they did water quality tests. So maybe it might be water from the tank itself is contaminated.
Yeah, because normally water from the boreholes normally safe from biological contaminants. And maybe the only thing you need to carry out is water quality tests to ensure that there are no other maybe minerals that are there, because that's the only contaminant that could be of risk to human life for boreholes. Borehole water is safe. The challenge could be now, and once you have connected to the tank, pumped to the tank, if the tank is clean, then still that water is still clean. Again, the point where you collect water, I am not seeing still the source of contamination unless there is any leakage. The point of contamination could be after you have collected that water at the household level, maybe the container you used. So, but more assessment needs to be done because I may not be privy, might be the structure of the borehole now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, thank you so much. Thank you, Ruth.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you specifically to Mr. Moses Lengewa for taking us through this very informative presentation. We are so grateful that you could find the time to be with us. For everybody else, thank you for having taken the time to be here. In case you have any questions, clarity, anything that needs our attention, kindly be free to write to us. For my colleagues, once again, thank you for availing yourselves. Until next time, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Just I have a request, if it is possible, to share the presentation by email.
Yes, we will share it by email. Just have that request written through the info email that's provided. We will kindly ask you to do that so that then we are able to send it back.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Are you interested in building a career in the development and humanitarian sector? Then, Strategia Netherlands is the best option for you. We offer training solutions to the United Nations, governments, NGOs, and other development organizations worldwide. Make your online application now for Diploma in Monitoring and Evaluation, Diploma in Grants Management, Diploma in Conflict Management, Diploma in Disaster Management, Diploma in Water Sanitation and Hygiene, and many more. The cost for diploma courses is 800 euros, while postgraduate courses cost 1,200 euros. Visit www.strategianetherlands.nl for more information.